Hi, everybody. Welcome to Conversations with Calvin, We the Species. And as I always say, as I kind of take a look at the world and take a look at the guest whom I have, JODI Pavlok. I have to use the word extraordinary because I think your accomplishments are extraordinary in light, which we will discuss in light of your journey and your personal experiences that led to you writing
Yeah.
Jekyll Can't Hide.
Yes.
And that is not fiction. It's actually your journey through some pretty heavy duty, serious narcissistic relationships, which we're going to talk about. So, if any of you are wondering out there in TV land, an old expression from the 50s, Jody and I met a couple of months ago, I guess. We
Yeah.
met a couple of months ago at the New York Book Festival because she and I both had won awards at the New York Book Festival. She received honorable mention, and I don't remember the category, but maybe it's a memoir, I forget. But she was honorable mention. I got an award too that day for my book, which I don't mind holding up. There's a tortoise in my hair, A Journey to
Yeah.
Spirit. And it's funny. You go to there's 30, 40, 50 people there. They're all award winners. Some people from all over, a couple of people from overseas, I think it is. It's a global
Yep.
thing. My inclination is to run, go home, and I'm done. And I just stopped. There was just kind of a little like a bar thing, and there was Jody, and we started to talk. And that's so important, the whole networking aspect. We talked, and I told her I had a podcast, and it's growing, and of course she's a Jersey girl, which is even
Yes.
better. They made a movie about Jersey Girl,
Hmm.
and that's why we're here because her book, her journey, what I read about it is kind of astounding. And I'm just looking at some of the notes. She had relationships with not one but two narcissists, and that's powerful stuff. And we're going to examine all of that because that word, narcissism, is almost in current events kind of thing. And
It
I'll
is,
leave it
unfortunately.
and I'll leave it at that. So the journey and what she's doing with this, I think, is extraordinary, which I said before. So listen up, and I'm going to now formally introduce Jody Pavlok. And
Yeah.
if you want to say a few background comments, please do, and then we will jump into doing a really nice interview here. Take it away, Jody.
Yes. All right, great. Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate you letting me tell my story. My name's Jodi Lynn Pavlok. I'm the author of Jekyll Can't Hide. It's based off of my autobiography of what Calvin said, not one but two narcissists. But it focuses more on my ex-fiance and the highs and lows and super lows of being with one, and more importantly, how I escaped at the end and just made a new life for myself. And now the whole premise of the book is just to tell my story, to share with other people who are going with similar situations that this could happen to anyone, but there is light at the end of the tunnel, and I'm here to help. And I also have my narcissistic abuse coach degree now. I have a certification, so I can help people with the psychology behind it and with living with it also. So, yes.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. I think all of us, well, a lot of us, hear that word,
Mhm.
um, and I'm not sure too many people know really what it is. So,
Yeah.
why don't you define a narcissist?
Yes, the easiest terms of a narcissist because it is a disorder, a mental disorder, and they actually have a diagnostic code for it. But it is something that is a cluster, and it just like a spider web goes out. There's covert, there's malignant, there's sympathetic, there's vulnerable. I considered my ex Frank a covert with hints of malignant in it too, as well. The basic signs are like inflated ego, the self-ascent, they think they're better than everybody. Everything has to be centered around them. And then once they start to get to the devaluing stage, it's nothing you do is good enough. They put you down, they belittle. Isolation is a big thing that I haven't been talking about enough, especially with friends and family. They basically want you in a little bubble and they want you to stay there, and they're like the puppet master and their strings, and you do what they say when they say, and you can't do what you want, but they could certainly go up and do whatever they want. And then it turns into the abuse, verbal, sometimes physical. I had a little bit of both, but it was more verbal. And I always tell everybody, I'm like, physical abuse is horrible, but mental abuse, those are scars you can't see, and those are not easily fixed. They unfortunately stay with you. Just got to kind of learn to put a band-aid on it and then move on. That's the best way I would describe it. But just everything they do is sadistic. And that's why I picked for my cover when I picked Jekyll Can't Hide, because narcissists truly have two personalities. And I considered my ex, Frank, to have bipolar disorder and, everything else that goes along with it. But when you have these two personalities, when you can show the world, outside world, I'm a great guy, but then most of the time behind closed doors, they're abusing. But my ex would do it in public a lot too. So he didn't have all the classic traits. He did a little bit of his own. So that's why my story is a little different. So, if it would resonate with other people, be like, oh, but my boyfriend does this, but he didn't do this, because there's a lot of gaslighting. What helps, with this kind of situation, they deny your own reality. And then you start questioning yourself. Am I crazy? Did I really hear that? Did I see that? Am I making this up in my head? And then once you start questioning yourself, then it's like, all right, this really isn't a good situation. And it's manipulation on a sadistic level. It really is. And that's why I picked the devil to represent my ex behind me, because, the whole relationship, I felt as if he was literally lurking behind my shoulders. And that's really what his face would turn into, with the smirk. And then if you ever heard of the narcissistic black eyes, that is the most scariest thing you've ever seen in your life. It's like spiritual warfare. It's like somebody takes over their body, but they know what they're doing. I mean, it's not like these other mental disorders where they're unaware or they need medication. Unfortunately, this is something, if they're a narcissist, there is no help. There is no medication. There's no cure. There's no amount of therapy that's going to change them. There are a few self-aware narcissists, very far and few, I think it's like 0.5%, that they do go to therapy because they have wives and children. They understand that there is something wrong with them, but they try to work on it as best they can. But that is very far and few. And
That's rare.
it is rare. And I explain that to people because I'm all about full transparency. A spade's a spade. If there's, help, or if there's any way that maybe the relationship can be fixed, they would have to be a self-aware narcissist. But I'm telling you, you're in for a very hard life if you choose that. But, both my exes, especially my ex-fiance, nothing they ever did was wrong. I'm the devil, I left him, whatever. You can't help somebody who does not see faults in their own behavior. So again, you got to just kind of just call it what it is, cut your losses and say, my life, my sanity, and my peace is the most important. Because once you start giving up, parts of your soul and your body for somebody who literally hates you on every level, you got to just make a better life for yourself.
Off topic, because actually we
that was a lot. I know.
No, that was a lot, and I'm trying to understand it. So, so in other words, these people,
Yes.
excluding the 0.5%, 0.5% who can understand, they're doomed to have a pretty tragic, awful life, because I don't know statistics, but how can any of them sustain any kind of a relationship?
Well, they can't. That's the funny part, because it's the weirdest thing. It's a paradox. They say narcissism stems from childhood trauma, and we can all say we've had some kind of trauma in our life, right? Whether it was childhood, growing up, but they take it so personally, whatever happened to them, they project their hatred onto their significant other somewhere down the road. They idolize you, and then they start to devaluing. And what they do is just project all that hatred onto you. And again, nobody has the right to do that. And they hop from one relationship to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, because nobody can put up with it, because everybody has their breaking point, right? And me, classically, an example, you can ask anybody who knows me personally. I am not a quitter. I will do, go, 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 make it work to the very end. I have never quit anything in my life, but the one thing I did quit was my ex-fiance, because he was going to be the death of me if I stayed.
Mm.
Literally, he
Oof.
was going to be. So I tried everything. He didn't want to go to therapy. He did not want to admit to the affair. He did not want to admit that he talked to me like I'm a low down, dirty dog. Nothing, nothing would work. So it was either stay with him, put up with the affair and the abuse, and leave, have a miserable life, or just say, hey, you know what? I'm just going to rebuild again. I'm just going to, do my own thing, beat to my own drum. And then, like a month or two after I left him, I said, you know what? I'm going to write this book. And I did it in a month, and it came out
Wow.
before the holiday season. Yeah, I'm a doer,
Wow.
like I said. So
Wow. By the way, listen, we met just briefly, and now, hugely admire you.
yeah, thank you.
Yeah, hugely, because you wrote a really personal, powerful book that really needs to have been written, and it can do a lot of good.
Yeah,
It's and like for example, me, I went through 5 decades of my life never having picked up a pen or a pencil to write,
wow.
and all of a sudden, boom,
Yes,
all
just
of a
comes to
sudden,
you.
boom, you become an author.
Yeah,
And I think you're going to become a very successful author, because this is a wonderful story, powerful story, not wonderful, but powerful.
yes, thank
Wonderful
you.
that you did it.
Yes,
Uh, um, I'm actually enthralled listening to you, because I don't know what that stuff is, but I know the energy needed to sit down and dig deep in your intestinal lining and pull out words and
sure.
thoughts and emotions,
Yeah,
especially if you're writing quote a memoir. I
yeah.
write fiction, so it's different. So, um, in my notes here, I see something called trauma bonding. What is that?
That is a very big word, yes. And I'll admit, I still struggle with it from time to time. That is basically what keeps a person locked in a situation with a narcissist. It's like this paradox. Like for me, for example, I fell in love with him. I was deeply in love with him, but then along the way, I got trauma bonded. They mirror you, your soul, what you like, what you would put up with in the beginning. See, that's the key, in the beginning. And then they slowly, treat you well, what they think that you would expect treatment wise, manners, everything. And then they start to pull away, and then there'll be a stupid fight. And basically, what it is, the easiest terms I could say is your body, me, I get chemically addicted to my significant other, my abuser at that point, because when they would abuse you, like call you bad word or silent treatment or storm upstairs, not answer the phone, hang up on you, they're punishing you. And then you hit a low. And it's like the realm of a drug addict. See, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, so I don't know what an addiction would be, but I can kind of understand with the trauma bond what I went through. It's like being weaned off a drug. It's like a heroin addict. They said it's like them going through a withdrawal. It's okay, you're at a low. All right, you want it, you want it. Which with the narcissist, it's like, please just talk to me, please. And then you find yourself apologizing for things you shouldn't apologize for, because you just want to keep the peace. You just want them to be okay. You want them to soothe you, because this is the other paradox. The abuser is the person who causes the harm, but then to the abuse survivor, that person is also the person who soothes you. So they cause the harm, but then you're looking for them to soothe you as well. It's very, very difficult psychologically, because it's like you're looking in the wrong places to fix yourself mentally to get out of that state. But now I understand it, being through it, being away as far as I can, how long it's been, almost 2 years. So and I get it. It would be like, I can't explain it, when we would have an argument or a fight. I would be in this fight or flight mode. I'd be walking on eggshells. My anxiety would shoot through the roof. I couldn't eat anything. I was like, oh my gosh, I just hope he answers the phone. Why is he doing this to me? Like, I literally didn't do anything wrong. And then your body's like this. But then when he would call or come home and be nice, your body comes back down because you had that dopamine hit. They're like your drug. And you don't realize that when you're with them. I was in it for good intentions. I loved him. I wanted to marry him. At one point, I thought he was the love of my life. But once the abuse started, I did not realize that he was slowly, hook, line, and sinker, pulling me into his narcissistic world of being under his spell. And this is what they do. As highly unintelligent as he is, he was intelligent in the manipulation field. Wow. This is the same playbook he's been doing since probably 11 years old. And he's almost 60. So this is all he knows what to do, unfortunately.
Oh, so he was way older than you too.
18 years older. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. So,
Mhm.
gosh, he's been. And was he ever married before?
He was married before, but I put that, that's part of the book too. I found out he only got married for his ex-wife to come into the country for a green card, because that's all narcissists care about is money. So that's another thing they're obsessed with.
Oof.
Yeah.
Well, I'm
Now you're really intrigued, right?
Yeah, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. But I'll stick my intrigue in my back pocket for now.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. By the way, I'm sitting here marveling at you, uh, the professional. I mean, it's like I'm talking to, it's like I'm sitting with a psychiatrist here. How well, how well versed.
Well versed, yes.
How well versed you are, and knowledgeable you are. Of course, you mentioned you've got that certificate.
Yes, I did.
Uh, uh, um, anyway, sometimes I'm borrowing a word from Saturday Night Live. It's the word they used to come up with, that word for clamped. It
Oh,
means,
yes.
you know that word. I'm a little verklempt here. Listening to you, and it just how well versed you are, and I get verklempt. But anyway,
It's okay.
I'm slapping myself ceremoniously, and we're going to move on.
Sure.
Is there a point where you can identify when a relationship is becoming controlling or toxic? Is there
Yes.
a point?
I mean, the statistics, it wasn't the same for me. A narcissist usually drops their mask about 3 to 6 months into the relationship. See, with me, it was quite different. It was about 2.5 years in, because
Wow.
yeah, it was kind of unexpected, the relationship, because I was going through a divorce with my ex-husband, the first narcissist, but he doesn't hold a candle to Frank, my ex-fiance. And I had known of him, Frank, for years ago. And I had run into him while I was going through my divorce, and we just exchanged numbers, and it was very, very slow for the first year because I wasn't looking for anything. I was getting divorced, but it progressed the way it did. But there's that big word, mirroring. And he's not like that, because I've heard nothing but, oh, he was a womanizer back in the day, and he drank a lot, and he experimented with drugs. Again, I knew of that going in, but I never judged anybody. And I'm like, well, that's when he was in his 20s. That was like 30 years ago. You would think one would grow up. Oh, no. If anything, he got worse when he got older. And now, from what I heard. So, but again, that's thankfully not my deal to deal with anymore. But, I try to give people a chance. And, everybody makes mistakes in life, right? We just own up to them and we grow. And then we grow up, but not a narcissist. No, they'll make every excuse in the book. And something he did, maybe 3 years ago while I was with him, he'll still blame me for now. That's the mentality that they have. So, we progressed in the relationship, and I'd say about 6 months after I moved with him, that's when he dropped the mask and he went full bonkers.
So you said 6 months?
6 months after I moved in with him.
After you moved in.
Yeah, I would
Okay.
say that was two and a half years into the relationship
Okay.
because we
Okay.
got like serious maybe a year after we
Okay.
started dating.
And as I take, I'm a strange kind of interviewer. I take notes.
Oh, that's fine. Go ahead.
So I taking notes. So moving on here.
Yeah,
Besides being an author, you are, and I just alluded to that, you are a certified narcissistic abuse recovery coach.
correct.
How does that help you in your everyday life to recover from the toxic relationship, and how do you help others?
It does. I mean, like I said, I've come a really long way, but just knowing the psychology about it, I always tell, people because I run a narcissistic abuse group on Facebook, Jody's Triumph, and then I have other people I talk to and whatnot. I always try to tell them the facts. Whenever you go back and have ruminating thoughts, or maybe think of the good times and say, was it real? I don't know. I'm not sure. Did he ever love me? I wonder what have happened if I didn't leave. Whenever those thoughts come into my mind, and then, like, a person who's asking me, going through the same thing, I always tell them, take it one day at a time. All days aren't going to be the same. One's going to be better, one's going to be worse, one's going to be in the middle. The main thing is that you left. You recognize there was a problem. They did not want to get help with or without you. They're not going to change. That's the number one important thing. Keep putting in your mind. They are not going to change. They can, and like I said, I have my ex blocked and everything. I don't care what he does. I tell my friends, don't tell me. I'm not interested. He's dead to me. I'm like that, like the Sopranos. You're dead to me once you screw me over like that. I have no interest. I will never speak to him again, even if I run into him in the street. I don't know you. Goodbye. You have to be that kind of cold hearted in a way. And that's not me. But in this kind of situation, you have to be. Thank God I don't have children with him or any assets or anything that ties me where I have to talk to him. With him, you have to understand with any narcissistic relationship, and this is another point I bring up to people, even though you could be in your utmost healing era, like I am, you're going to have your days. Even though you've made so much progress, a narcissist does a rewiring of your brain chemistry. Okay. It takes years to undo. So I'm pretty much there, but I still have a little bit like forgetfulness, short term memory, stuff like that. You have to understand when you've been abused for years, like I have, technically two narcissists, but more frank, there's always that maybe 0.01% chance for manipulation. And this is why I am very hard on myself about completely blocking him. Not know, I don't care what he does, but not checking socials, not asking around about him, making sure whatever I can do, not running into him, because I don't ever want to be put in a situation where I'm in the same room as him and he tries to speak to me, because then he will further have a chance to manipulate me again.
Hmm.
I know I'm strong enough to walk away, but in life, let's just say that old saying, there's never a guarantee, right? So let's just minus myself out of the equation so we don't even have to deal with that consequence. So I think it's very important to stay away completely. And the people who have to co-parent with the narcissist, I call it the gray rock method. Just answer them, hey, can you pick up the kids at 8:30? Yes, no, okay. Don't engage, don't talk, don't ask. Just make sure your children are taken care of. If they're giving you alimony or whatever they have to do, just make sure you're taken care of. Don't get involved in their personal life, and just try not to have a quote unquote relationship, even if it's like, oh, but I want to be friends with him. No, no, you cannot. This is very different. My friends know this. There's a breakup with normal people, but when you leave an abusive relationship like I have, totally different ball game. You have to play by totally different rules. And it's to protect yourself. Because remember, at the end of the day, this is about me. This is about you, the abuse survivor, and you have to do what's in your best interest. So that's how I do it. I stay away. And that's been working for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. I like that gray rock thing.
Mm-hmm.
I wrote that down.
Yes. That's
As
big terminology.
sometimes as tempted as you are especially you, because you're so warm and giving, and but
Yeah.
as tempted as you are, in a situation like that, you really, really have to be cold and put up the walls, and your advice to somebody with kids. Yeah, I'm picking the kids up at 8. Goodbye. Boom. Done.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
And I was tested once. It was probably about around this time, about a year ago, last year. I was driving in Bergen County and I saw his truck and I didn't think he would recognize me because I was in my stepfather's car. And I'm just driving down the road and magically he's right behind me and he's going like this. He wasn't giving me the middle finger or anything because remember, at that point, I had gone no contact about 5, 6 months. And I think my book trailer, the one that I filmed, just got released. So the book was on its way to coming out. And he was trying to get my attention. I didn't look. I called my mom on Bluetooth. I said, Mom, I said, Frank found me driving. He's supposed to be at work right now. I don't know why he's in this town. And he followed me for 10 minutes into Paramus. And then I went through a yellow light to lose him. That's what I had to do to protect my peace.
Oof.
I pretend like he wasn't there. Just went. Got nothing to say to him. His actions spoke louder than words.
Yeah.
Put it that way.
Yeah.
When anybody reads the book, they'll see why.
Okay. Wow. Wow. Um, in a perfect world,
Yes.
what are plans for your book? And I'm jumping ahead a little bit. Could there be, volume 2?
There possibly could. There's a lot that's happened since the book came out, so that is a possibility. But right now, I'm just focusing on getting this book out more and a wider horizon and audience. I'm also actively that book trailer I told you that I filmed. We're submitting it to film festivals. I actually got an award as best director in Toronto for it. So
Great.
that was really cool. Yeah, so we're doing that.
That's
We're
great.
doing the film circuit and then that's the next step I'm doing. I'm in talks and negotiations and working on that's my dream to turn the book into a film, a full-length feature because I do acting on the side as well. So I would really really love to have the book to come to life on the big screen. So
Hey, when we're off camera, I'll talk to you about some of my connections with this.
okay, great.
So off camera.
Yes.
Anyway, moving on. I heard you say
Yes.
that you describe yourself sometimes as an empath.
Oh yeah.
So, I want you to define what an empath is, and B, back in the 60s, there was a wonderful TV show called Star Trek. One
Yes.
of my favorite episodes that I still remember. And I only watched the stuff once. It wasn't that it came back on. I don't know if it went to syndication or not. But one of my favorite episodes in Star Trek, and I still remember it. It's one of the only ones I remember was
Wow.
with an empath. There was a
Okay.
character in Star Trek. She was an empath, and she could feel all the pain from others, and actually,
Yes.
because it was science fiction, it would kind of distort her. So anyway,
Yeah.
Jody, what
Yes.
is an empath?
An empath, from what I understand, there's a couple different definitions, but my whole life I felt different, but in a good way. Like, I don't want to say extra special or something. I just felt like maybe my calling was higher, if that makes sense. Um, I could always feel energy around me. I always felt like you know, people who had malicious intentions, such as a narcissist, they are drawn to you. A narcissist to an empath is drawn like a moth to a flame. It's because their darkness wants an empath's light. Because you are everything that a narcissist wants. A narcissist true core is very insecure and their darkness, and they're very jealous of an empath. At first, when they're with you, they idolize you and they're like, oh my God, you're the answer to all my prayers and everything. But then they flip the script and then they get jealous because they can't be you because they are darkness. I am light. They are from hell and I'm from heaven. In a sense, not to say it's so blatant, but that's really what it is. It's spiritual warfare. It because let me tell you, when you see those black eyes, that is not normal. And I've seen it about 5 times with him. It's like they're possessed and they completely know what they're doing. And they just, they want your love and light because they know deep down they're not a good person. They are absolutely aware of the damage that they cause and they don't care. They just still do it. So me as an empath, I can feel things before it happens. I know now, not to always be a, see, that's my problem. I'm a people pleaser. And it's not because I want everybody to like me. I think I can't even tell you offhand, did I ever meet somebody that didn't like me? No. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but I'm nice. I'm well mannered. I have respect for people. I talk a lot. I mean, I'm just a people person and I'm just an everyday person. I'm not better than anybody. I just went through an unfortunate series of events. And I figured, why not take a bad situation and make it into good and help people that have been through this? So it's just an empath is just somebody who feels emotions more intensely. You get drained very easily and you feel, let me tell you, you feel things more than the average person. I would even tell my friends, like with my ex Frank, I loved him so much. I basically gave up my life for him because he was my life. I'm not going to lie, he was. And I was okay with that as long as he was going to be nice to me and not cheat, fail. Okay. And I gave him 2 chances. And, between the abuse and everything else, I kept trying to see the good in him. No, this can't really be him. You make excuses for them. But then you as an empath get drained because you're not supposed to be in that toxic environment. You're not supposed to be with somebody who's constantly putting you down and making fun of you and just yelling at you because you're going with your mother to ShopRite. And he accuses you of, doing sexual innuendos in the deli department when you're getting cold cuts for the house. Complete lunacy. It's all in the book. But, it's just, it's something, somebody once said being an empath is a blessing and a curse. And I get that because the blessing part is you help people in good situations, the people pleaser, you bring light to a room, you only have good intentions. The curse part is I'm always going to attract a narcissist my whole life or a toxic person. Now I need to know right away the signs, push them away. You got to just have the shield up and say, no, you're not good for me. You're not good for my energy. You're not good for my mind, body, and soul. So now I've learned to do that. And a lot of empaths kind of self-isolate a lot. I'm like I said, I'm more of a people person. I'm completely fine with doing my own thing. I'm used to being alone in a sense because I'm an only child. I have no children, and the guy I was always with, they were always the center of my world. And since I left him, my whole mission, besides my real estate endeavors, is my book and pushing it and helping others. So, I always put other people first. Now I'm trying to learn to put myself first a little more now. I struggle with that because I never have my whole life. But it's a good thing being an empath. But let me tell you, you feel when I left my ex, I stress this point to everybody. I didn't want to leave him. I had to leave him because the abuse was getting so bad. Like I said, it would have been the death of me if I stayed. But when I tell you that's the most brokenhearted I've been and the lowest point of my life, absolutely. Absolutely. I have no shame in saying that because the book is all about full transparency. That is the kind of hurt I don't think I can ever experience again because my body would not allow it. I would probably give myself, God forbid, a heart attack. I could not go through that pain again. And do I still suffer with that pain from time to time? Of course, because I'm an empath. Those kind of feelings just always will surface up once in a while. But have I healed a lot since I left him? Oh, yeah, of course. But that underlying hurt, that's still buried deep in. That's what I'm working on now with my narcissistic abuse therapist. So it's a process. It's a process. And this is another thing a lot of people get confused with. Like I said, I didn't just leave him. I still was in love with him when I left him. Now the love has changed because I had found out about this affair and been lied to and everything. But there will always be a small part of me that will either be connected to him or just a little string of love. Maybe it will go away one day. Maybe it won't. But guess what? That's who I am as a person. I'm not angry at myself because for me, it was real. For him, I guess I was just on his rotation. But I could promise you one thing, I am the chosen one. And I will be the one that will forever haunt him between the book and what he's done to me. And it's not about revenge. This isn't about revenge. I let go what he did to me because in the end, nobody wins. He lost a beautiful relationship, a marriage that could have happened. I lost somebody that I truly loved with my heart and soul. But like I said, I'm taking a bad situation and making it good. So again, he's just going to keep going on in life, fooling these women and being empty inside, knowing that he lost the best thing with me. And for myself, my journey is just helping others and just focusing on me for the first time in my life at 41 years old. So this is my path that God gave me, and I'm taking it and running with it and just saying, all right, I'm going to go full force.
Okay. By the way, you said something interesting. You're an author, and I'm an author.
Yes.
And Norman Mailer, a great American writer, once said, for an author, writing a book is just like giving birth to a baby.
Yeah.
On both sides, both genders.
Sure.
Giving birth, this is your baby, and
Mhm.
I have my baby, and soon
Yep.
another baby. So we're giving birth.
Yeah.
And everybody's gestation period is different. It took me 5 years to write, and took you, a couple of months or month, whatever. So,
Yeah.
but anyway, it does become our baby because the baby grows up and does good in this world.
Yes.
And that's what your book is going to do. It's going to do good in this world because I don't think there's enough stuff mainstream out there to help us because beneath the headlines and beneath things, narcissism exists, and
Yeah.
people should know about it a little bit more. And I won't say anything more about that. Now, Jody, we're going to take a deep breath here.
Okay.
All right, deep breath time. We're going to just drift off topic for a second or
Sure.
two. I have a couple of questions. I told you about this. I borrowed from one of my favorite journalists.
Mm-hmm.
So here we go. Question one. Excluding family or friends,
Okay.
somebody living or dead you'd like to spend a day with.
Oh, who I'd like to
And
spend
it
the
could be a couple. There's no rules here.
Hmm. I don't. I'm trying to think off the top of my head because I'm trying to think of like authors, but then I guess that Dr. Romney, she is like a narcissistic abuse specialist.
Oh,
And
wow.
she just divulges in that whole world. And she really helped me a lot even before I wrote the book, just to understand the psychology of it. And there would be things she said, I'm like, did she get in my brain and just think what I was, thinking of? So I guess for what I've went through personally and everything, I would like to have a conversation with her because she is just like to me on the top tier level expertise in that subject.
Okay. Great answer.
Yeah.
Great answer. Next. I like asking this for a whole bunch of reasons, but since I'm a quote Hollywood person,
Yeah.
I'm a Hollywood romantic. I love movies. What are some of your favorite movies?
Oh, say favorite movies. All right, there's a little mix because I'm a Gemini, so I'm a little all over
Okay.
the place. I always loved Harry Potter, okay? But my true love of movies, I love all the mob movies. I love Black Mass with Johnny Depp, Casino, Goodfellas. Those are like all my top movies. I love it.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm a Godfather fan myself.
Yes.
And at this point in time, in all these decades that gone on, I'm comfortable saying I've seen it probably about 125 times.
Oh yeah, of course, of course.
Literally, and Godfather 1, Godfather 2. I don't mess around with the third one, but I've seen it that many times. And the gods have awarded me, a special treat. It was some years ago. Actually, I was at the Garden State Film Festival, which we
Okay.
have to talk about
Yes.
also when we're done. the Garden State Film Festival because you've got a film.
Yes.
I've been very active in that, and 15 years ago, give or take, I was down. Give or take, I was down in Atlantic City for it's usually in Asbury Park, but
Hmm.
it was in uh, it was in Atlantic City, and
Okay.
I met there was a showing of a movie. I don't even remember what the movie was, and I met some people, and we were walking. We were going to an after party from that
Okay.
movie. We were walking on a boardwalk, and I'm walking with this guy. His first name was Lou,
All right.
and I knew he was Italian. So one thing led to another, and I did a perfect segue into my affectation
Wow.
with The Godfather, how much I love that movie
Yeah.
and how much I believe, in the movie,
Sure.
uh, because I believe in the movie, and it's a story about a man taking care of his family. Everybody
Yeah.
takes care of their family.
That's right.
And one thing, and I told him back then, maybe I've seen it 80 times. And then he's a young guy. He says to me, "Yeah, I was in the movie." So I said, "Yeah, right. I mean, the movie was made 40 years ago. How could you be
Yeah.
in the movie?" He said, "No, I was in the movie." I said, "All right, how were you in the movie?" And then he described the scene. It was the opening scene, the wedding scene,
Okay.
and Sonny takes this woman upstairs to mess around,
Yep.
and Tom Hagen goes up and knocks on the door and says, "Sonny, your father wants to see you." And Tom Hagen walks downstairs, and there's a couple little kids running, and they bump into him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, this guy was one of those kids.
Oh, all right. That's cool.
And it was such a thrill
Yeah.
for me to have met somebody that was in that movie.
Yes.
It was great.
Absolutely.
Anyway, all right, moving um, back to some business here.
Yep.
Now that we went off topic, how do we break the cycle and not attract narcissists into our life, going forward into the future?
Yeah. I would say the best thing to do is like what I do. If you don't have like a specialized therapist like I do, just educate yourself. Like on TikTok, you put in NARC talk, NARCTOK. There'll be hundreds of thousands of videos of women, and men go through it too, but the statistics are about 70% narcissistic men. And they'll say, hey, I left my ex 3 days ago, no contact, I'm shaking, I really want to just text him and see if he's okay. And people will get on there, be like, no, girl, don't don't break no contact, trust me, he's doing fine, he expects to hear from you, he's going to manipulate you again. I mean, just there's a whole community out there. If you just put specifically what you're feeling and what you're going through, educate yourself, watch a video. If you're more prone to reading, read. There's always some kind of educational tool to help you get through it. And then honestly, what I did, thank God I have a wonderful unit of friends and family. I mean, they are on the phone with me every day. There's a shirt I want to buy. It's called Professional Yapper. Because that's all I do all day is on the phone, whether it's the real estate or the book or my friends. But it's good because you have a unit of people that have stuck by you, that have walked you through the fire. And you have your good days, and once in a while you have a bad day or a so day. And then they kind of just remind you, oh, remember when this ass did this to you? And like, oh, wait, I do remember that. Then you laugh about it and then you move on. Sometimes you need that validation. Like my best friend Peggy, we talk about everything under the sun. It's usually about a 2 to 3 hour conversation. She lives in Florida, and her husband, Vic, always laughs. He goes, just tell Jody to fly in, you guys would still be on the phone. It's a 2 hour flight, but I mean, she's my rock, and her husband's great too. And they all just stick by me, and just this crazy thing called life, what we're getting through. And you just need people to understand where you're coming from, how you're feeling, and just how to move forward. That's like my next thing now is just moving forward, doing things that I want to do for me. So that's like the best thing I could say for people going through it. Don't isolate yourself in the beginning. You have to have people to rely on, whether it's just social media or actual physical people in your life. It's something you need somebody to hold your hand to go through for sure.
Okay. Um, has anybody like personally reached out to you, referring I
Yes.
mean, referring to your book already?
Yes, many women, a couple are getting back to me. They're in the midst of reading the book, but I would say about 8 women so far wrote back to me and they said, "Thank you so much for telling your story. We appreciate your rawness, realness, and your vulnerability. You explained how you were gullible in some situations, things that you shouldn't put up with for such a long period of time. You explained the trauma bond and how you did go against your own self-constructed rules of going back a second time and what happened as a result." They said, "Thank you." I mean, one person left their narcissistic husband of 32 years. One left their boyfriend of 15 years, another one an ex-fiance. One was only in it for a year. I have all the messages and stuff. And I say, thank you. I said, this is the whole premise of my book. I said, if it could only help one person, I'd be happy. But me, just a little, unknown from Gabagool Land, Jersey, 8 people so far. So, and maybe there's others, they just didn't contact me yet. But the more I push my book, the more it gets out.
Yeah.
And I think really, I mean, Facebook is really big. Instagram is like middle. But TikTok is really big for me with people writing in the messages, a lot on Facebook. And a lot of my stuff goes viral. I mean, the things that I say and speak of. I mean, one of the things I put up the other day got 10,000 views. It says, I forgot exactly what it said. It said something about, I could love you to death, but the moment that you disrespect me, I'll act as if I never known you. And it was just, a really powerful statement. It was
Yeah.
just one of these pictures they did with AI and like a whole, like, Scarface white outfit. I'm like, oh, I got to get that white, outfit. It looked good on me. And, but it's like just a powerful statement. So it's not like I was just talking about narcissism. It could be anybody in a toxic relationship or just a relationship that's going south. It's the truth. You can still love somebody and leave them. It's not easy. Trust me, I've done it not once, but twice. But everybody gets to their end of their rope, and when you realize the other person is not in it for good intentions or good reasons, or they just think you're a buffoon and want to make a fool out of you, you're like, you know what, no, I can't do this anymore.
Okay. As we wind down,
Yep.
we're gonna look at different sides of Jodi.
Yep.
I always like to ask this because I'm a writer too. Are you a
Yep.
morning writer, late night writer, or do you write when the inspiration hits you?
Right when the inspiration hits me, all times of day and night.
Okay, same here, by the
Yep.
way. Whenever I call it the wave, whenever that wave,
Yes.
you just get your surfboard and jump on the wave. Another question I like to ask fellow writers, do you do outlines or you just write?
I just wrote, I went into a portal and I went, psh, just
Okay.
went. When it comes in my brain, it's got to come right out.
Okay. I came up with this coming attractions, uh,
Yes.
which I showed you. As part of the coming attractions, we haven't touched on it, but you're also a singer and a real estate agent.
Yeah.
So, quick music question: when did music first enter your life?
About 11 years old when I got introduced to the trumpet, and I really took to it. I really wish I could have went to music school, but I was considered at one time probably the best trumpet player in the state of New Jersey. I was
Wow.
really good. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
that
I
was my
knew
first passion. Yes.
that's great. It's funny. You said passion, and
Yeah.
I knew that's so funny you said that. The only trumpet player I ever knew was a guy named Jerry Passion,
Okay. Oh, okay. Look at that.
and we met. Talk about synchronicities in the universe, because I'm a spiritual guy.
Yeah.
I met him. He was part of a little ensemble, little show at a Belmar, New Jersey, down the Jersey Shore
Hmm.
venue, and we got to talking. Afterwards, I was a journalist for NJ Discover at the time, and I was covering it. And he and I and both our wives, we were
Yeah.
BSing afterwards. And lo and behold, we found out. Watch this. This Jerry Passion.
Yeah.
We found out that our fathers actually we were best friends growing up in Plainfield,
Oh,
New Jersey.
look at that. Look
Wow.
at odds. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know how I don't even know how we went through the discovery process,
Yeah.
but it was such a wow.
That's cool.
And you know, my father was gone, but he would have got such a kick out of the fact that I met his literally his best friend's son
Wow.
so randomly. Anyway, uh, uh, does singing help you process your emotions differently than writing does?
It does. It helps me release it in a different way.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Um, just to dab a little bit because you are in real estate. There's
Yes.
real estate's a people business.
Yeah.
Did that side of your career, being a people person like that, influence any of your writing?
A little bit, yes, because like I said, I take to anybody and I can just strike up a conversation with anyone. So that did help, absolutely.
Okay. Uh, I don't know really much about real estate or real estate agents. We've used a couple of them over the decades.
Hmm.
Have you ever met clients or situations in real estate that are so unusual that that could become a novel too?
Uh yes, I'd say I met one or two people for sure, absolutely. It
Okay.
seems like everybody in this life has a story to tell, whether it's good, bad, in between, you know, for sure. Everybody's got something to say.
Okay. You alluded to this because you made a fabulous, I haven't seen it yet, but a fabulous book trailer.
Yes.
We can talk about this off. I'm in the marketing and the promotion stuff. Uh, uh, are you having fun? You're navigating
Oh yeah,
a whole new
absolutely.
world. And you came up with this great movie trailer. It's a tough world to navigate.
Yes.
It's a tough world to navigate. These last 2 years I've been navigating, and it's a
Yeah.
tough world. But okay. Um, Last question.
Okay.
And we could go on and on because there's a whole bunch more, but
Sure.
I'll invite you to come back. The last
Okay.
question: what have you learned about yourself through all of this that surprised you?
Yeah. I would probably say that I found a strength from within that I was always told that I didn't have. So that was a pleasant surprise to know, because when I first left him, I kept saying, and the second time, I don't know if I can do this. But I dug myself out of the fire and I proved to myself that I don't need him. I need myself more than anything.
Well said, beautifully said. Listen, I've been around the block. I like to say that.
Yes.
I've done over 400 of these things.
Wow. Great.
Yeah. I've done over 400 of these interviews, and I've been a journalist. That's a whole nother thing.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I had a cable TV talk show, which was here in Central Jersey. I was the producer and the co-host. And at our peak, we were bringing in national guests. I got Gilbert Gottfried to come on the show.
Oh,
Which
very
at
cool.
the time was one of the funniest comedians in the
Yeah.
country. Frankie Previtt, who won an Academy Award for Dirty Dancing, the music, big time, and
Yeah.
so I've been around a block and I've met tons of people, but you're very unique and special and endearing,
Thank you.
and again, I I didn't know what to expect because we
Yeah.
just briefly, but you're
Sure.
engaging and you're honest, and I'm saying to myself, gosh, she should have been doing this 30 years ago, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is for what I'm doing now
Mhm.
was buried deep inside me. So I was a pharmacist 12 years, quit that, and then I worked for the world's richest Italian, which I loved, and I
Yeah.
was a salesman and a sales manager for
Okay.
25 years. And then at an advanced age, boom, this novel popped in my head, my first novel, and all of a sudden I realized I have to be a novelist and a journalist. So
Yeah.
that came out of nowhere,
Yeah. Absolutely.
like with you, Jody.
Yes. Yeah. It did.
So what we've had here, um, I almost sound like a movie. What we have here, it sounds like Cool Hand Luke, but what we have here was something really special.
Thank you.
And you are very special. And I'm saying that, listen to you, just so much admiration for your journey, your strength, and for your writing and all this stuff. So I'm here. Whenever you're so moved, come back. We're now friends.
Yes, I'd
Back
love to. Thank
and
you.
we come back and talk, et cetera, because there's tons of stuff to talk about, and I have a couple ideas. I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
Uh, so thank you. Hey, Thanksgiving's a week from today,
Yes, it is.
so happy Thanksgiving.
Yes, happy Thanksgiving as
Yes,
well.
and thank you, Jody. Don't leave. I'm just going to stop recording. Don't
All right,
leave.
great.
Okay.
Thank you for
Thanks,
having
Jody.
me.
Thank you.
Thanks.